Hey friends, Adriano here with Rexmont Real Estate for your Elevate Your Real Estate channel. I'm here with John.
Hey everyone.
Hey guys, so this is episode 6 on Do You Know Your Worth? And we are going to be making this part 1 of a 3-part series talking about the pre-listing steps. So the steps that you actually need to implement out there to win every single listing opportunity that comes across you. And so guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. We are going to be talking about listings, okay? And in this market where we have very low inventory, it's important more than ever before to know exactly how we are going to be executing the game plan so that every time that you have a conversation with someone on the phone that is about to sell their property, or even when you're showing up at the door, you know for a fact that you're going to get that listing, okay? And so in this episode, we're going to actually start with some of those foundational and very initial steps that we need to implement to ensure that we are actually going for the win every time we come across a listing opportunity. Okay, so with this, John, so what I'm actually curious to know is that you talk to a lot of people, right? Especially sellers within this market. And within this seller pool, there are certain things that we do to ensure that we are actually causing a first good impression, right? And so tell us about, you use video quite a lot, right? So tell us about some of the things that you use within your video, what the video format is all about before you show up at a client's home.
Yeah, that's a great question, Adriano. And video is one of the most powerful mediums that we use here, and it's a very effective way of connecting with people. Sometimes a phone call is great, but when they get to see your face and really see the expressions you're making, it's a really powerful tool. And before we go and meet the seller in person, after we get off that initial call, what I like to do is immediately send them a video. And these videos are always they can be adapted to each seller. But the 3 most important parts that are going to be in every single video, the 3 most important elements, the first one is going to be showing appreciation. And I'll go over those really quickly. They're showing appreciation and then setting expectations for the seller right out the gate. And then last but not least is building rapport or continuing to build rapport with the sellers. And you mind if I elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, let's go ahead and elaborate. So what do you exactly mean by bringing the right tone in conveying appreciation? How does that play out? How does that go into a conversation with a client?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing we want to do in that video is just thank them for their time, because we want to come up as very genuinely appreciating that they're giving us an opportunity, because they're reaching out to us and considering us to help them with this huge next chapter of their lives. So the first thing you want to do is just appreciate and really express that through your tonality, through the body language in the video. You want to have the energy there so the seller knows that you're excited. You're excited about meeting them in person and you appreciate their time. So just showing that energy throughout, it's very important throughout all videos, but especially sending to sellers.
Sending to sellers, right? So basically getting the right tone, across the video, basically making them feel a certain way as far as who you are, not just as a professional, also as a human being. Because ultimately, we want to mirror who these sellers are in terms of their values, in terms of our competence, and also in terms of getting the job done. And it all comes in one package when we are in front of them through a video. Now, tell us a little more about the expectations and how that actually embeds and integrates with rapport building. So how does that play out in a conversation where you're shooting a video?
Absolutely. When the expectations are very important. I mean, as real estate agents, we are setting expectations for our clients constantly, right? Especially sellers are looking for that leadership kind of trait. They want to know what the next steps are going to be, because more than likely they haven't sold their house in a long time, or this might be their first time. So by setting the expectations of what the process is going to look like from the moment we get off that phone call, the very first phone call, all the way until the very end, and just letting those steps fall into place every single time. So the seller always feels that, hey, this guy or this gal, this real estate agent, They know exactly what the process is going to look like. I'm in good hands. So that's going to go directly into rapport building, because what's rapport building? It's connecting with a client and connecting through authority, connecting through expertise, and also, like you said, being a human and connecting with that human element. These go hand in hand together, and really rapport building at the very end, we're always wanting to be in a mindset of, hey, how do I connect with the person in front of me? How do I give them the most value possible? And ultimately, that is the most powerful way to build rapport with clients.
Awesome, terrific. So that first step that we're actually going to be implementing is that of sending a video to a client shortly after we have the first conversation, somebody who is considering putting the property on the market. And as part of that first element within the video, we're going to incorporate 3 items: appreciation, expectations, and rapport building. Now let's move on into the next area of here, which is very critical as well. As you are now building your strategy in taking that listing, and that is that process of pre-qualifying the seller through gathering intelligence. So John, tell us, how does that play out? How does that process of gathering information, gathering intelligence, how does that process pay out, and overall, that's for us when it comes to securing that listing?
Absolutely, Adriano. I mean, this step cannot be overlooked. It's one of the most crucial steps in the process. It's what gives us all the intelligence that we're going to be able to go to this listing. We're either going to be prepared or you're not going to be prepared. And this really comes down to how much data, how much intelligence that we gather on the pre-qualifying interview. Almost. It's not going to be an interview format. Of course, it's a conversation that you're having with another seller, another human, but at the end of the day, this is going to set up the whole process moving forward. So this is a step that you absolutely cannot skip, and it's very crucial, and that's why we have processes and scripts in place for this step.
Okay, so tell us an example of how a question that extracts intelligence plays out.
Well, we have a lot of questions in our pre-qualifying script. Some of the most important questions that we always want to ask our sellers is, for example, hey, Adriano, if the whole process makes sense and you're very confident and you like what you see and all decision makers are there, are you going to be able to make a decision when I come to the property later today?
Yeah, if it makes sense, I will make that decision.
Awesome. That's a very important question to ask. Another question you'd want to ask is, hey, Adriano, I'm sure for the sale of your home, you're interviewing quite a few agents. How many agents are you planning to interview?
I'm actually planning on interviewing 2 other agents.
Awesome. And who are these agents? I'm sure they're quite established in the community.
Correct, yeah. So basically it's Mark and John from this and this company.
Got it. And this is very important in part of the intelligence gathering. You're getting to see, and most likely it's agents that you're familiar with if you do a lot of business in the area. Gives us good data to find out who we're competing against. Another great question you could always ask, or we always ask, is, hey, Adriano, what are the most important traits that you and your family are looking for in the real estate professional such as myself?
Well, I'm looking for someone who has a solid marketing plan, someone who is going to give me top dollars, and someone who is actually going to get my property sold.
Amazing, Adriano. And so this is all ammunition for that. We know objections are going to come up, conversations are going to become organic. So all this pre-qualifying is our almost pre-game setup that we like to call.
And once we actually get as much intelligence that we could possibly extract out of those sellers, then that will help us now transitioning into setting up the strategy that ultimately is going to be implemented by the tactical advantage that we would have, on securing that listing when working now for that seller. Now, this is, guys, very much so as when we are, looking into a game of football. Like you have 2 opposing teams, and before the ball is kicked off, we are going to have the teams studying each other, right? They are going to be studying each player's habits, their strengths, their weaknesses. They are going to be watching hours upon hours of videotape with all of the tactics that they are using, especially the ones that might have been causing the opposing team to win on a streak, and what the other team should be doing to prepare themselves so that when they are at the go time, they are there to win the game, right? So, and as we implement now the tactical information or tactical steps that we are going to be elaborating and bringing now into the game, all of this is ultimately going to bring so much confidence, not just for the clients, but also for ourselves, like in this case, yourself, John, as their listing agent or the agent of choice, right? So guys, for any questions that actually come up out of these pre-listing steps, feel free to leave us the comment. We'll be there to support you and have a conversation. We'd love to hear your input. So other than this, I'll see you on episode 7.